Alone, Gene Hackman dwindled. Betsy succumbed to an uncommon illness. However, why would you want to seal the files? When Betsy was supposed to be gone, why did her phone hum? A series of unsettling flukes, or a secret that isn't ready to be revealed yet? Perhaps it's as straightforward as the official line claims. Or maybe there is more to the truth than we have imagined. This is only a theory anyway. A ragged fragment of a huge, incomplete puzzle. Chapter 1. The Well-Timed Disaster. The charming town of Santa Fe, New Mexico, combines the rough allure of the desert with art and culture. However, such calm was upended on February 26, 2025, when the Santa Fe Police Department received an urgent call. James O'Reilly and Marcus Vega, two heating system workers, were the first to discover the scene. Early that morning, they had been called to inspect the Hackman family's furnace, but nobody came. The house remained strangely silent, despite their repeated attempts to call, knock, and even ring the bell. The front door was strangely unlocked. No sounds coming from inside, no indications of a break-in. They felt a nagging uneasiness creep in. O'Reilly hesitated, then pushed the door open. The house was as clean as ever, but the temperature inside was abnormally cold. They yelled for Betsy Arakawa and Gene Hackman. No response. They went farther and discovered Jean lying on the floor of the laundry room. Still, Betsy lay in a similar condition in another room. Police rushed in and began looking into it right away. Officials initially believed both had died naturally. According to early accounts, Betsy died on February 11th from hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, a rare and dangerous disease that is carried by rats and causes severe respiratory failure. According to reports, Gene, who is suffering from late-stage Alzheimer's, lingered in the house for 2 weeks before his heart failed on February 26th, failing to recognize his wife's passing. It appeared to be resolved until the Hackman's doctor, Dr. Josiah Child, spoke up. Gene Hackman has been under Dr. Child's care for years. A single detail bothered him as he was shocked by their separate departures. On February 12, the day after it was reported that she had gone, Betsy had contacted his clinic. "I can still clearly recall that call," Dr. Child said. That morning, Betsy called to schedule a meeting with Gene. She mentioned recent chest pain and expressed concern about his health. Even though she wasn't a frequent patient, she scheduled one for herself after scheduling Gene, who called on February 12 if Betsy really left on the 11th. Dr. Child continued. She didn't appear to be seriously ill. There was no sign of hantavirus, which would have caused her to gasp, and her voice was clear and steady. She seems more worried about Gene than about herself. This call caused a serious problem. Is something buried, or did the cops make a mistake with the timeline? Another twist was added by Dr. Child. Betsy did not show up for her afternoon appointment on February 12. No cancellation, no explanation for her absence. What transpired from that morning to the afternoon? Santa Fe police had to re-examine the case after Dr. Child's remarks. Betsy's death was attributed to hantavirus in the first forensic report, but a follow-up revealed a problem. There was no proof that she had it in her last days. The hantavirus damages the lungs, causing coughing, shortness of breath, and rapid fading. However, Betsy did not exhibit these symptoms, according to people who saw her in early February. According to a family acquaintance, Betsy was okay the last time I saw her. She drove and went shopping. Nothing suggested lung issues. Even worse, authorities discovered no signs of rodents, which are often the source of hantavirus in the Hackman residence. What then took Betsy? Or is there an undisclosed reason? One more strangeness. No indications of intrusion or disturbance. The house continued to operate normally. No attack marks, no missing objects. How did Gene manage, though, if he was there for 2 weeks without knowing Betsy was gone? From February 11 to 26, there will be no food orders. Jean wasn't given any attention at the time. Jean's phone did not ring throughout that time. It's hard to believe that a late-stage Alzheimer's patient can survive alone for 2 weeks. So, did anyone come in between February 11 and February 26? What did they do if so? This isn't only a normal occurrence. Why didn't the police notice the strangeness earlier? Was the time frame intentionally altered? Who left on February 11 if Betsy called on the 12th? The solutions appear to be hidden in unresolved puzzles. And this is only the beginning. Chapter 2. The impossible conversation. Betsy Arakawa called on February 12th, even though she was unable to do so. What began as a normal call turned into an inexplicable riddle. How could someone schedule appointments, make plans for the following morning, then report themselves absent on February 11th? The entire call comes back to Dr. Josiah Child. There was no trace of a serious sickness in Betsy's voice, which sounded steady. She talked about Gene Hackman's health, his recent anxiety, and even how she was feeling a little tired, but nothing concerning. It wasn't the tone of someone who was rapidly disappearing. She completely disappeared a few hours later. Betsy Arakawa was never seen again. People in the small community of Santa Fe are close to one another. It was impossible for someone like Gene Hackman and his spouse to be undetected. But Betsy vanished after that early call on February 12. She skipped her visit to the doctor. Later calls went unanswered by her. She left no evidence of leaving the house or appeared on the clinic's cameras. This strongly contradicts what the cops say. On the 11th of February, Betsy lost. Who called on the 12th? Then, if she had indeed left. The science of forensic reports used to be unquestionable. However, what seemed clear becomes uncertain when a doctor who spoke with Betsy the following day comes out to contest them. Let's follow this strange chronology. February 11. Betsy died of hantavirus pulmonary disease, according to the police. February 12. Good morning. Betsy calls to schedule examinations. No indications of illness. Calm voice. February 12. In the afternoon, she drops out all of her contacts because she missed her appointment. February 26. Gene Hackman was discovered missing at home. The rub is this. The hantavirus doesn't attack right away. It grows. In the latter stages, speech difficulties, fatigue and gasping are evident. Betsy, however, displayed none of that. Dr. Child is adamant. She spoke as if she were fully normal. There was no cough, no dysmia, and no sign of death. It's unbelievable that she simply disappeared a few hours later. This suggests 3 terrifying hypotheses. A serious forensic error. Betsy might have departed after February 12 rather than February 11 as stated. To create a fake trail, someone imitated Betsy's voice and pretended to be her. Betsy did make a call that morning, but shortly after, a terrible incident occurred. A surveillance video from a pharmacy on February 11 serves as the last clue regarding Betsy. She didn't appear unwell or panicked. She entered, made her payment, purchased vitamins, and walked out. She was last seen alive at that point. There is no video of her on February 12. What does it signify? How did Dr. Child address Betsy on February 12 if she had already left by that date? What transpired that afternoon if she survived till the 12th? There may be a logical solution, but the more you look into it, the less clear it becomes. On February 12, Betsy called even though she was unable to. She scheduled a visit but never showed up. She showed no symptoms of a serious disease. But according to forensics, she passed away from a fatal illness. Did the police miss something? Is the truth being withheld? Or worse, did Betsy disappear after the call? Every day, this seems more and more like an unsolved mystery. Chapter 3. The day that Betsy vanished. Betsy Arakawa was last seen in a surveillance video at a small Santa Fe pharmacy on February 11. Then she disappeared. Don't text. No calls, no emails. Save the odd one for the morning of February 12. What actually transpired from a healthy woman purchasing medications to being totally off the radar in less than a day? The last evidence of Betsy Arakawa's existence is the pharmacy camera footage. She entered about 3:45 p.m. wearing a light scarf and a dark coat. She moved without showing any signs of serious sickness. After purchasing vitamins and supplements and making a card payment, Betsy departed. No company, no panic. Nobody is following her. Although it seemed like a typical moment, it was the final one before everything became mysterious. She left the pharmacy and was never seen again. There are three possible explanations for this abrupt decline. Each poses difficult queries. Who called on February 12 after Betsy passed away that evening, February 11th? Betsy left late on February 11 due to hantavirus, if the police are correct. The teleconference on February 12 is therefore not possible. According to Dr. Josiah Child, he spoke with her the following morning. She spoke calmly, no signs of illness or breathing difficulties. Who called the following day if she was indeed gone by the 11th? Betsy survived until February 12th, but what happened to her after that? The problem is reversed if the call on February 12 was genuine. What happened to her? Her doctor's slot was not hit. She chose not to go home. Other cameras did not show her. It is impossible for a well-known, mature woman in a small town to disappear completely. Why are there no witnesses if Betsy was taken? It was all staged. However, why? Could this be a disappearance disguised as a departure if the cops miscalculated her passing date? Is there something being concealed? Was there a prearranged plan? Or are they simply unbelievable coincidences? Betsy is looking good at the drugstore. Night of February 11th. According to official sources, she has left. Early on, February 12th, Betsy calls to schedule examinations. It was the afternoon of February 12. She skips her spot, making it inaccessible going forward. Gene Hackman was discovered missing from his house on February 26th. A 14-day gap remains unfilled. Then, nobody knew what had struck Betsy. Bank accounts were not impacted. No phone activity was recorded. No sightings. For 2 weeks, can a lady delete herself without causing any repercussions? Betsy is not the only question. And it's Gene Hackman. 14 days after Betsy's disappearance, he moved into that house. It's difficult to accept the police claim that Alzheimer's caused him to become blind to her absence. Can a man who has been married for decades ignore his wife's 2-week absence? Who would Gene live with for 14 days if Betsy departed on February 11th? What did he see if she had only disappeared on the 12th? Above all, did Gene Hackman have knowledge that we do not? One thing is certain, regardless of whether this is a strange coincidence or something evil. This isn't easy. Betsy was unable to leave on February 11 and make a call on February 12. What happened if she survived till the 12th? How could they have left no trace if someone had forced her to disappear? This goes beyond a simple disappearance, not merely a forensic error. If you dig deeper, you'll find that this story is rife with holes and very terrifying. Is someone hiding the facts, or did the cops really overlook something significant? We still have no answers. Chapter 4. The Too Late, Stopped Heart. Official sources state that after spending decades with his wife, Gene Hackman was unaware that Betsy had passed away until 2 weeks before to his arrival. Authorities attribute it to Alzheimer's disease. Awareness dulled to her absence, memory fading. However, the more you think about it, the less it holds. How could a man and his wife live in the same home for 14 days and not notice anything wrong? How could a mind-aware actor, who was once sharp, not respond even slightly to the absence of his best friend? More urgently, why didn't Hackman contract hantavirus, a virus that spreads through the breath, if Betsy indeed contracted it. According to official reports, Betsy